can happen in the anus, it can happen in the vagina, and it's usually a little tunnel that makes another opening. And there can be several causes of the fistula. Sometimes if a lady in her birth has a large cut and that's not sewn up quite right. And there are some excellent surgeons, but I'm afraid some surgeons might do things in a little bit of a hurry. One lady told me that after the birth of her baby, she had a large cut. And by the way, may I say, especially to the young women who are listening, when you give the body the right conditions, that is not necessary. Ladies must squat and get that whole area ready. They must implement sustain me. And as a lady who had several home births, even to the point as one baby came a little earlier and I delivered this baby myself, that birth is a natural process. And what often stops women is fear. And there's no need for fear when you realise that God made women's bodies to birth. But some ladies get very fearsome and they reach for the drugs, then they reach for the drugs, they're unable to push their babies out, then the doctor has to do a large cut. This doctor did not sew her quite right, and bowel fluid started coming out of her vagina. Such a terrible discomfort for a young woman, only in her early 20s. And then she had to go back and they had to try and remedy the situation, and her husband and her were unable to be intimate. Oh, it's so important to educate ourselves on our bodies. And that makes the doctor so happy. Did you know that? When you present yourself as a person who is able to handle the body. So that's a fistula. It can be several openings. And as you can imagine, every time you have surgery down in that area, now we have scar tissue, which can compound the whole thing. But God, in His wisdom and mercy, has given us some natural treatments that are very effective. And we touched on one in a previous demonstration, and it was the alternating hot and colds. So alternating hot and colds, meaning sitting in hot water for 3 minutes, sitting in ice cold water, and in Nairobi you might have to use the ice cubes to keep that water nice and cool. And that is done 3 times. And a lady can do that, or a man if he has a fistula around the anal area, they can do that at least once a day. And as I mentioned with the castor oil, the more you do it, the more powerful it is. And that might take a couple of months to allow that body to heal. And overnight, castor oil compress can be put to the area, or a slab of aloe vera can be put to that area. The person can try a few things and see what feels good and see what has the most effect.
Staying on the gut, maybe one other question. Labels indicate that chocolate tablets should not be given to children